All right, let's get into river play, starting with the last hand that I left off with, because I was curious to see how this played out. Facing small bet, blocking the jack, I think is a very clear raise. And I think it's a very clear raise anyways, pretty much. But blocking the jack makes it even clearer. This is a spot where it gets kind of scary to bet 3-bet a hand like 9-7, because I river a lot of jack-jack and some jack-9 and a lot of jack-9 as well. So I think you don't see as many bet 3-bets here. You do with jack-jack, but that's rare, especially when I block a jack. So I think I have the best hand. Sometimes you can have 7-7 and just be like, a lot of people like to do this. I don't think it actually makes sense, but they like to small bet 7s so that when they get raised, they're very comfortable calling, because you could be value raising queen 10 like I am here. I don't think that really works. The logic is all sound, but I don't think it's advantageous to be doing that compared to just potting and getting value from other things. But I do see that. So I did go with raise. I went with, is this pot? This is pot, which is fine. All right, so we bet flop, bet turn. When we turn the equity, get raised, have to fold. Good deuce, but pair in my hand. I lean towards checking this, but you have to check this. And on river, small bet's pretty interesting. I think he's bluffing. I don't really understand. I guess queen, king, maybe even jack makes some sense. I think ace deuce is just a raise. So I think I should raise to like 2,500 or something. I went pot. I guess I was only using pot because I didn't want to be taken advantage of, but he's not going to call pot with his jack. Yeah, so could go ahead and bet this turn. I decided not to, which is fine. Have to bet river, I think, with a diamond and check without a diamond effectively. I'm representing flushes here. I think I can half pot. Don't think I need a full pot much, but I can. But I like half pot as a sizing. I don't like this check down. I'm not sure why I did that. It's bad. Good flop bet. Deuce X is not very common in the big blind defense range, so you can keep betting this for value. Would be half pot if I do bet, sure. And then on river, I think it's slightly too thin, but it's close. With ace king, ace is definitely a bet. I did have the deuce. Here I like a turn check. 3-3 is not zero showdown value, and kind of don't want to dirty up my outs by narrowing his range to trips or to a lot of trips. And now I raise. Similar to last spot. I wouldn't say similar in that. Well, it's kind of similar because I'll bet some jack 6-5-4 on flop and then check the 9 turn, as well as a lot of jack potentially, although I bet a decent amount of it. So I don't think this is a very common spot where you see bet 3-bets at a high frequency. But yeah, I would go ahead and raise, and I think whatever size. I don't like this call at all for the reasons I just mentioned. I don't like this call. I think I need to raise. I don't see how I'm losing. And that's pretty thin, but kind of makes some sense. He's going very small. Very tempting to bet for value and protection. Am I pushing equity against his calling range? I guess a little bit. So I'm okay with the bet. I can also bet an 8 river because I blocked the 10. Okay. I think this is a pretty good hand to barrel off because, he's going to call flop with all ace high. He's going to call down 3 times with a lot of jack and 9-9. Actually, so different opponents play this differently. Some people really like calling down with ace queen high and folding jacks because your value range is ace. That's actually smarter. But a lot of opponents just go by absolute hand strength. I think Vinny is the smarter type of opponent. So then this becomes not very good blockers, but maybe for the check bet line.
Here, on the other hand, he can have some bet three bets, unlike the other boards where I think he's not going to have as many. I like raising this hand. I think I think that I represent it well. I have like the Jack 9-7 are great blockers because they're the type of like the middling type of stuff I'm representing. So I like raising. Didn't do it. It's fine. Can't do it every time that you have anything, slightly reasonable. Clear check, I think, on the turn. I think this is a little too thin. Maybe it's not too thin. It's fine, but you're just going bet check usually. Can't bet river. Yeah. Generally, you want your churn value bets to be able to bet river often. That only can on a king. I like this turn bet. And showdown, but probably win. It's just too thin to value bet. His hand is noteworthy, not in that it's bad, because I think this plays fine. But you'll see some opponents when they have a high-ish equity draw that has no showdown value, always put in an aggressive line. So like check raise flop or check raise turn if they got there that way. So I would note it when they don't. I like checking here. Sevens, it's not a lot of showdown value, and I do have some equity, and it becomes a good bet hand. Maybe talking myself into betting. But what I was going to say is you do win sometimes against sixes through deuces. All that said, it's easy to find value bets across three streets, hard to find the bluffs. A 7 plus a gut shot, I think, is a pretty good reason to bet and try to get him to fold an ace by the river. So I think I would have preferred betting. Here, a little bit too much showdown value. I think I need to check, but obviously good blockers. I don't really like that I chose half pot as a sizing. It's kind of strange. Against the raise, I actually like 3-betting. I bet I didn't do it. I block 6-8 of spades. I block 10-10, and those are kind of the main hands that I'm repping. And it's really hard to have bluffs here that go small on river. So I think I should have potted. I know it's easier said than done, and I'm just casually saying it as we're scrolling through the hand history, but I think it's like a very good combo for it. The best blockers to have are the 10 and the 10 and then 6 of spades, 8 of spades, or jack of spades. And I have 2 of those useful cards. You're not going to want to bluff with 9x because I didn't bet with 9x in the first place. So I don't have trips to bluff with. When I have like a queen high flush, it's not going to be that thrilling to bluff with unless I have the pair to go with it. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty good one. Maybe an opportunity I should have taken. Here we get check raise with ace deuce. Got a call. Turn is... So, like I said, I usually go small with all my bets in this spot. This is a hand that would like to go big because he will check raise some deuce X and then check call. And you'd like to get a lot of value against that. But also the board's very draw heavy. You'd like to get some protection. Half pot's fine. Might quarter pot for some reason when I've been going third pot. Maybe I changed it based on how wet the board is. Go pot on the ace turn, which I think is like queen is the best hand to do this with because he can have you unblock ace X and you unblock 7X and then pot river, very standard. And he has queen 7, cooler for him, unlucky turn for me. Okay, maybe I just at this point switch to quarter pot. Standard turn check, and then am I suspicious? Not enough. Looks like I was. That's suspicious enough, but I do think like ace king plus is going to do this. Maybe ace queen even. Ace 8. Yeah, I guess I switched sizings, which is fine. I use either. Yep, keep betting turn and keep going small. Or small is the better sizing. This can be checked back. I think I wasn't doing a lot of checking back with boats at this point. Pot turn I don't really like. It's fine, but I tend to do that with jack and not with the 5 blocked. And I think I like half potting here. No, I like potting. He's going to have queen, queen type stuff a lot, king, king. Maybe half pot is better against those. And maybe even do some raises, but I don't think so. Because I'm usually not potting 5x trips, or jack 5. I'm potting jack jack. I am potting some trips, though. People generally are too scared to try to rep that, even the greats. Easy showdown. Nothing to talk about there. Always betting flop, always betting, well, not always betting turn. So this is a spot where you do want to check back some king 10 because it's very often going to be the nuts on the river. My king 10 is a pretty good one to check back. Blocking the queen and the jack, which means it's more invulnerable. Although that actually is better because I can, like, if he check raises king 10, it's good for me that I have 2 overcards. Anyways, I bet, which is fine, but keep in mind that sometimes you want to check hands like this when they're high boats, like high nut boats like this. And half pot river, I don't know if I need to do that. I think I can just pot. I don't have many. I guess weak trips wants to do this, but I don't have a lot of weak trips. Did not bluff raise with 10-4, which is somewhat noteworthy. He might have against pot, so I might have cost myself there. Sure, I have a single heart and I have a gut shot. I go for it here, expecting to fold out a lot of king X. Get called by 9X. Maybe my gut shot's good. Obviously, get called by flushes, and then give up. Sure, I would check. Turn diamonds that are low make me want to check because he's not check calling flop and then folding better diamonds. Gives me more. Like, it's just a good spot to, like, kind of slow play a hand that is not going to be comfortable betting 3 streets very often on a lot of runouts. And like having the straight blockers too, it's just a very nice check. Very invulnerable trips hand that can be drawing dead. These boards are weird. You can kind of do whatever you want. I think I want him to have gut shots, so I don't like these blockers. Now I check because I beat ace king, which he can have sometimes. I don't check quads too often against good players because they just play paired boards pretty aggressively. I would half pot this turn rather. Well, yeah, I half pot. I want to keep stuff in. Looks like I went for pot. I think I half pot. They just, like, when they get here and they face pot, they're like, well, I have trips X%, whatever percentage of the time, let's say like 15%. So then I don't know, maybe 20 by no, it's like 15 by the time they call flop. So they do need to defend a lot more than that, but I don't know. When you block a big portion of their defending range, they're going to overfold. This is a reasonably good bluff combo, but I have no outs to improve. So I went with check, which is fine. And check down, having played it this way, and almost always lose. It's a pretty reasonable bet check bet. Yeah, it probably should be a bet check bet. I think 6x is winning very infrequently, and blocking a 9 of spades and a 6 and a 3 is good. You need to find the bet check bet bluff sometimes. I would check. Not enough equity, and keeping in diamond draws is not the end of the world. I'd fold. Okay. Pretty much always bet this. Unlike the king 10 spot, this is not the nut boat, and there are a lot of overcards that can come, so I don't need to keep this in my check back range on the turn, either in theory or practice. I can go for the river pot, which seems good. Once I bet, I have to call the check raise, and small bet. I was going half pot at the time. I go third pot now, but whatever. Decide to bet flop, easy turn check, have some showdown value now, and show it down. Win with that showdown value. 3 with 2 overcards on this board should always bet. It's a pretty strong 3. And we don't run into 6-4 very often. That peels flop and peels turn. So I think we can half pot for value. Full pot is fine. It feels a little thin. And we get jammed on. I mean, So my one, I think I want to call here. The thing is, when I half pot turn, I think you get a lot of calls from 7-7 and Jack-Jack if they played it this way. When you half pot turn, I think they put you on a lot of Queen-Queen, and they're like, let's get money in now because he's just going to check river on a lot of rivers. So I think that makes him less likely to slow play. And then, there are lots of potential bluffing candidates like Jack-7, Jack-5, 10-10, 7-5, stuff like that. And I think those, and like he's not check calling with 5-5 twice very often. So yeah, I actually like calling. I wonder if I did. Yeah. Very curious. If I was right, I was. I mean, don't give me all the credit in the world for this because, I don't think I remembered, but there's definitely a chance that I could have remembered this one. I should mark this hand as well. I'm marking hands sometimes because sometimes they illustrate an important concept that I might discuss in its own video. I might not. But yeah, hopefully there's definitely a chance that I have memories of these hands that I'm not aware of. Easy fold and easy non-turn bet when I turn nothing at all. Easy turn check and easy river check. Could win, did not. Interesting, very interesting that he had the 9-9 flush. I would have expected that to small bet or big bet. Probably small bet. Whatever on this turn. I went with check. It's not thrilling, but I can't fold this hand. I think I have to call with the 4. Without the 4, I can consider raising, but I need to make sure I slow play enough because, I might not. But with the 4, I unblock hearts. I block lots of showdown value because he's not bluffing with a 6 here. He's not bluffing with a jack. It's just a very, very good calling hand. But he had it. I say it like kind of sad like that because I think overall Venny underbluffed. Check. Easy check. And I think this is just too weak. I think probably ace jack can value bet. Ace 7 needs to check. Kind of close though, depending on what he does with ace X. Interesting. I don't think he's betting trips when 2 straights get there and the flush gets there, but he might. He can bet straights this way. For sure. He does call flop with all of his ace queen. Decent amount of queen 9s. I lean towards folding for the call. Check back, too much showdown value to start bluffing with. And then really, really weird sizing. He's representing, I guess, queens and jacks and kings because 6x. He could have 6x, thinking that I check back a lot of 8x on this turn. But 8x can pot. Straights can pot. Good 6x can pot, but maybe he would want to do this. Anyways, I'm calling this hand, and I'm very curious to see what he had. The problem here is that I think if he has 7-5, I think he pots because he has a straight blocker. So I think the bluffs that he chooses for this sizing are just going to be his missed flush draws that have no straight blocker, which is kind of rare combinatorically. But I have excellent blockers to deal with that. And I even block queen, queen, and jack, jack. So I think it's a clear call with my hand. And again, I need to be good. What is this, 1 in 5 times? So not very often. Quads, just quads. I don't love his play's okay because I will have some 7-9 that play this way, but I would much rather if I were him do this with 6-6 because I can raise an 8, whereas here I'm not going to raise a 6. Okay, we call the check raise. Deuce boards are always interesting because we have them less often than other cards. Small on turn, I just have to call my hand. There's nothing really to think about. Small on river. I don't think he's going to bluff this way. Why don't I think he's bluffing? But also, I guess ace 4 makes some sense. And then some weird bet 3 bets like 5-5 and 8-8. Well, he doesn't have 8-8 very often. 6-4, he could be getting nitty with 6-4, but I thought he might pot river with that. But as far as bluffs, I guess I could see. I'm curious what I did. Okay, I flicked in the call because I had a deuce. He might just get here with, like, he check raise flop with total air, and his thought process is, well, on this turn, nothing missed, so how can I be bluffing? He just wants to get away with a cheap bluff without like running into big hands. So I guess it could be that. As far as value, boats don't make sense except for bet 3 bet boats, I think. And then ace 4 makes some sense, I think. Also could, yeah, ace 4 makes some sense. 6-4, I think, could go bigger on river. It's the bet 3 bet with 5s. Here, easy check back on the turn. And I mean, I don't beat value. He's not going to value bet worse than ace X. And my blockers are really bad. So actually, this is supposed to be a fold, I think. Don't get caught up in having queen, queen and being high in your range, because queens are really bad blockers, especially queen of clubs, and I have the 8 of clubs. These are bad blockers to have. It's funny, I won. Oh, wow. So I wonder if I'm way off. I don't think I'm off. I think he's just value betting a hand he should never value bet. I mean, it's 1 pip lower than mine, and I don't think he was going much lower than that. So I'm like close. It's not beating any value even against the way he was playing, but I think this is a bad value bet from him and a bad call from me. But if he's value betting that, it becomes a good call because I'm beating some of his value range and I block some of his value range with queen, queen. Being in his value range, easy check back and check down and probably lose, but no need to bluff. Or not no need to bluff, but shouldn't bluff. All right, check turn and half pot river. Pretty clear, I think. That hand strength here is, yeah, I think bet turn is fine. The problem is I don't really want to bet many rivers, so maybe this is just check. Get check raised, which I guess 8-8 makes a lot of sense. I do have the king, and I do really well against his semi bluffs because I have hearts. Yeah, I think I have to call this hand. I don't really have a strong feeling for whether he's over or under bluffing this spot. I guess I need to fold. I don't see how he gets here with enough stuff, with enough air. Because his semi bluffs got there. Like, I know that he'll if he got here with the semi bluff if he got here with a bluff that somehow missed, I think he's going to fire because everything got there. But it's really hard to check raise turn with, like, he needs, I guess, 8-10-10 or 8-6-6. Makes a lot of sense. That would be a great hand to play this way. And maybe, I mean, he's definitely capable of that. So, but also keep in mind, by the time I bet twice, call a check raise, a big check raise, and face pot, I have a lot of boats, and I could probably just defend boats or close to it. So I think that's a good fold. Easy check back, too much stuff. And easy raise on the river. I am repping straights, so I don't want to just pot here. I don't slow play a lot of boats on this board. I guess I did. Just pot. Called by a jack and a lower straight. Okay. I think he can just pot that hand, but I understand why he doesn't, because he thinks he blocks too much stuff that can call pot. I usually pot this turn. Unfortunately, get the fold. Check back. Like, you are pushing a little bit of equity against his calling range, but not much. And I block the straight draws and, don't need to protect against the straight draws because I fill up on a lot of the straight cards or hit a straight. And he's, I'm not going to 3-street for value. As far as river, this is a know your opponent spot and know whether they're betting their flushes. A lot of people don't check flushes because they don't feel like they can check raise flushes. And against them, I would bet. But against somebody capable of check raising a lot of flushes, or also just check calling flushes that like block calls, then this is probably a check or close to it. He had an 8. I lean towards checking here. Just like the wrong amount of equity. I hate to I have really good equity now, or a lot of rivers that I want to put decent money in with, but by the time I bet big on turn or bet on turn, then it becomes not so much true. He can bet ace 9, so I think I need to call ace 9. He might be able to bet queen 9. He's gone kind of thin in a few spots. His sizing is pretty interesting because we've seen quarter pot and we've seen pot. To me, this means like tens or ace 9 that doesn't want to get raised. But yeah, I think I call my hand because it could be ace 9. I don't know. I think I need to call that hand. Sure, bet flop. It's an okay turn to pot and pot river with the A blocker, but I would do it rarely. The 5s being like 9-9 would be better because then it's bad to block straights because those call fold sometimes, but it's good to have the 2 outs to beat 7-8 or 10-7. Looks like I went for it. I think I have to pot now getting here this way with the 5s, but it's getting a little thin. Folds. Keep betting. I would keep betting. A rainbow board, I'm not going to have a lot of draws, and this is a pretty good draw. Do whatever you want here on river. Tend to bet with, do whatever you want. I went for it. Like I tend to bluff with fewer queen jack 10 hands because he's going to have some like ace queen 10 that checks this river and check folds, but not a big deal. Go for the flop bet. Turn is fine. Yeah, it's fine, but you don't need to make this bet. And river is an easy check. When I block the flush draw, I don't like this bet. I wonder if I had like either a game flow or timing or some kind of read that made me want to bet this, because you don't really want to block clubs. I mean, that said, I should take a moment and say that most of my turn semi-bluffs contain clubs, so I need to follow through sometimes. And I guess with a 7, maybe I wouldn't. So maybe it's okay to make sure that I have enough bluffs because I have plenty of value. As I'm, it's funny. I get convinced by my former self that I think was playing better than I do now. I think that I think it's a good bluff because, I can't bluff every single hand that's unpaired on this river, but I think I need to bluff a lot of them because I have a lot of trips that play this way. And I don't have a lot of unpaired hands that do not contain a flush draw. I don't have nearly enough. So I need to bluff some unpaired hands with flush draws. I don't think I need to bluff all of them. And so you kind of flip a coin in your head. It's hard to get a rough frequency of how much to bet, but you do need to do this some of the time. So I'm glad to see that I did some of the time. I think you'll see some opponents who just never bluff with clubs, which is what my gut reaction was here. And then they never semi-bluff turn without clubs. So then they never have bluffs on river and you can just fold everything. Okay. Can't bet river after betting turn, but I think I still like betting turn because deuce X is pretty infrequent. Clear call of the pot. It's possible that I beat some value, but I did not. Noteworthy that he went with pot with Jack. Some people will always play that as a like small bet 3 bets or check raise. It's good to see. It's good to have that in all your ranges. So for him, it's good that he did that. I'm going to wrap up here. Hope you found that helpful, talking through some of these paired boards across multiple streets. And I'll see you in the next video.